Uncle Sam here, folks, with a friendly public service announcement. And it's not going to be one you like. Certainly not if you're Christian, so hold on to your hats and glasses. Because Jesus ain't God. Jesus never was God. Jesus never will be God. And if you knew history, you would know this fact. So let me just tell you what Jesus really was and who he was, okay? Because I bet you never heard this before. Now, this is some straight talking. This is something you need to hear. Jesus was a great man, okay? He did leave behind a legacy, a wonderful, beautiful legacy, no question about it. But he was not God, okay? He was not God. Son of God? I'll buy that. As much as I'm a son of God, and you are, and everybody else is. The Son of God? Bullshit. Bullshit. I'll tell you what, Jesus, if you were the only one Son of God, God never had any other sons, then I ask you, for all the Christians out there who are listening to this, turn off my mic so you can't hear me no more. To prove that you are the only Son of God, and reward them for their faith, and punish me, the evil, evil son of a bitch who's casting lies about you. Go ahead, turn it off. Ready? Go now. Yeah, I'm still here, folks. What do you know? Either Jesus don't give a fuck, or he ain't the only son of God. Got it? Now let me go a little bit into this. And I'm not doing this to fucking insult you, and I ain't doing it to hurt you. I'm doing this to wake you up, and I'm doing this to liberate you. Because you've been told a lie your entire life if you're Christian, and you believe that Jesus is God. Okay? First of all, Jesus, okay? Jesus was supposedly a Messiah, right? To the Jews, Moshiach, right? Now, what is that? Well, if you look it up, that's the guy who's supposed to come and liberate all of them so that they're able to have, just a wonderful fucking life, that they're not tethered by the original sin that they supposedly all have, right? And it's supposed to give them just this wonderful, beautiful, world that they have where they have slaves and shit. I'm not kidding you. Now that's the real Mashiach. This idea that Messiah or Mashiach is for everybody, not just the Jews, not to just make their lives better and give them a whole bunch of shit so they're living the high life with a bunch of slaves and shit. Guess what? That shit was made up by a guy named Saul. Okay? Now Saul was a persecutor of Christians. If you read the Bible, and most of you don't, this is why I have to fucking tell you this shit. Read the Bible again and read about Saul, who became Paul once he converted. Saul persecuted Christians. He hunted them down. And he made sure that wherever they met, he would go and he'd fucking break them up and he'd put them in jail and he'd fucking kill them and shit, right? I'm not kidding you. This is the son of a bitch. Meanwhile, one day he's on the road to Damascus and he has this brilliant idea. He's like, fuck this. This fucking religion is spreading amongst the slaves and the women, mainly. I need to get a hold of this shit, right? I need to get a hold of it. Now, the idea of a Messiah, right, who's going to liberate the Jews from the Roman oppression, right, and give them their own country again, and give them all the shit that they want, including slaves. I ain't shitting you on that. Look that up. The idea was never meant for anybody else. It wasn't meant for you, Goyim, which is, Gentiles. It's not meant for you. This guy Saul said, you know what, I got a great fucking idea. I'm going to make this, I'm going to make this religion for all the Gentiles, for all the non-Jews, yeah. And I'm going to take it to Rome. We're going to combine it with a bunch of other religions. And that's exactly what he fucking did. He took it to Rome. He called himself Paul instead of Saul. And he worked out a deal with the upper class, with the parasite class. He worked out a deal. He says, you know what, let's make a big fucking religion. We'll combine it with the religion of Mithras, okay? With Attis of Phrygia, with the cult of Osiris, with the cult of Dionysus, and quite a few others. And we'll make it a one-world religion, a universal religion, and that's why they called it Catholic, because Catholic means universal. Basically, it was a way to take a whole bunch of religions, mix them all together, and be like, yeah, this is the generic religion for everybody. I shit you not. I shit you not. Now, I'm sorry if this bursts your fucking bubble, but you need to know the truth. And this is why we had the Protestants and the Catholics fighting all over the goddamn place, and why the Protestants realized that the fucking Catholics worship the fucking devil, because they do. At the heart, in Rome, that's exactly who they fucking worship. They even got a throne for the fucking devil in the Vatican. Yeah. Sorry to burst your fucking bubble. But knowing the truth will set you free, and that's what I'm trying to do here. You see, the Messiah was only for the Jews. It was never for anybody else. Never. And if you look throughout history and you actually read it, not stupid Christian history, which is going to gloss over and hide shit, you find out that Christianity was forced on our people. It was forced on our people. And that goes for most people, but it was definitely forced on white folks through war. I'll give you the perfect fucking example. You ever heard of this ass monkey fucking St. Patrick, so-called? St. Patrick? He's a pile of shit. And let me tell you why. St. Patrick as a child, he was a Scot, not an Irishman. He was a Scot. Why the fuck do you Irish nowadays celebrate him? He was a Scot and he was captured by pirates and he fucking hated them. They were Irish pirates. And he swore he'd fucking destroy their asses. Now later on he got, because he was a rich boy, his daddy paid the fucking money that he needed so for him to be ransomed. He went back home. He converted. He took his new fucking warrior cult religion, Christianity, Catholicism, and he made war on Ireland. The people of Ireland were Celts. They followed the old ways and their old gods. They did not want this new God, this new Jewish Messiah God. And they fought him. They fought him on battlefields, guys. And if you don't believe me, get the autobiography of St. Patrick where he talks about the whole fucking thing. They would show up and he would be driven back battle after battle because the Irish used, with their priests, called druids, would summon storms, right? And the storms would come in, and the fog would come in, and the lightning would crackle across the sky. And it would just defeat and destroy his Christian army that tried to force them into a foreign religion. Well, they drove his ass out again and again and again until he finally fucking prevailed. But he had to capture a couple of druids, and under pain of death, most likely also of their families, they were on his side, and they used their own magic against their fellow druids. And you have this all over the world, all over white countries, who were forced into Christianity by their rulers. Sometimes they brought it in little bit by little bit like a frog in a boiling water. But most times they would just say, fuck you, you're Christian now, and they would build a church on the old sacred places, and that's exactly what they did. So that's Christianity. Now, Jesus and the teachings of Jesus, the ones that we have, who were written by Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, were written over 300 years after the man lived. So Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John were not the actual ones. These were Greek theologians who took on those names so that they would have some sort of provenance. Okay? So that people would be like, oh, this is wonderful. Mark wrote this and Matthew wrote this. And now these people were never there. They never met Jesus, which is why their fucking stories are not the same. They get them wrong. Okay? They get a lot of it together, but they get a lot of it wrong. Now, I'm not going to debate with you whether or not Jesus came back to life. If he performed miracles, that's fucking great. I think it's fantastic. I think if those were his actual teachings, be nice to people and forgive people, all of that, they brought a lot of nice and tenderness and kindness to the world. But they also took out a lot of what made a man, to defend his homeland and his people, to defend the women and the children and the elderly and the infirmed. They got rid of that. Even though Jesus himself said, I come to bring the sword, at one point he said to his apostles. So yeah, I got a problem with modern Christians who don't know the fucking story and who are now believing shit like, oh, Jesus was the Son of God, the only Son of God. Oh, almighty Jesus, your baby Jesus. You're an idiot. You're a fucking moron. If you want to follow the teachings of Jesus, go ahead. That's good. Be a good person. But also look into your ancestors and see what they have done too. Look into the religion of your people. Because no matter where you came from, they followed gods. Okay? That most of those gods, they go back to the same exact God who we called Gaut, who became known as Goth, who became known as God when the Catholic Church got into Germania. And Germania was named that because it means the land of related peoples, or Germane peoples, related, Germane. Okay? All this dogma that they put around Jesus. Oh, there's three Jesuses. There's Jesus the God, there's Jesus the Son, there's Jesus the Holy Spirit. Yeah, he fucked this little girl. She was like 15, Mary. He fucked her. And then he produced himself so that he could sacrifice himself to erase the original sin that he himself put on you because you ate a fruit way back when in a garden that he made and put in front of you. Really? I'm sorry, but to me that sounds like a big fucking bullshit Jewish fucking lie made in Hollywood, to me. Which is why it's part of the Jewish religion. I don't remember Jesus ever walking around. Read the fucking Bible again. You ever remember him walking around talking about how, oh, you all have original sin because of Eve? And bullshit. Bullshit. So they married those two things together. They got nothing to do with each other. Nothing. They married them together so that, oh, look, see, this has extra provenance. Look, this has a... Bullshit. It does not. Okay? Now, if you want to follow the Master Jesus and the things that he said, fantastic. It'll make you a more loving person, a kinder person, and shit like that, right? Forgiving, and a wiser person in many ways. But it ain't the end-all, be-all. And he wasn't the Son of God. He wasn't. He was a Son of God, I'll grant him that. And there were many sons of God over time. Matter of fact, I'm a son of God, and so are you. The idea that there's, a divinity or a group of divinities that only choose certain people. They're the chosen people. Bullshit. Who the fuck you think wrote that but the people themselves? We're chosen. Now, when they can take God from you and say, it's actually our God. It's ours. And if you love Israel, then you will find favor. God will love you. Fuck you. He ain't our God. That's your fucking God. That's Jehovah. And that's a whole different ball of wax. Jehovah is actually a fucking, it's an alchemical and ancient mathematical formula. Now, I'm not going to go into that in this particular episode because it'll take way too fucking long. I'm going to have to talk about the Tetragrammaton and what that means and how it jives with reality. It's actually a quite beautiful fucking thing. It's a quite beautiful thing. But I'm not going to go into that right now. But look, I'm just trying to let you know basics here, okay? Jehovah ain't your God. It's the Jewish God. Okay? Different God. Matter of fact, they didn't worship one God. They worshiped a whole bunch of them. A whole bunch of them. And then they met this one God on the top of a mountain, right? This is the story of Moses. And he said, I'm going to be your Elohim, which means your one and only chosen God. And that for that one, you can worship the other gods, but you can't worship them before me. It's the first fucking rule in the Ten Commandments. He doesn't say there aren't other gods. He says there are other gods, as a matter of fact. He says there are, and I'm a jealous God, and you cannot worship them before me. Meanwhile, you got all these fucking liars telling you since you were a kid, there's only one God. Really? Is that why God himself fucking says there ain't? You dumb shit. I'll give you another example in the fucking Bible, right? So now we're going back to Genesis when Adam and Eve are running around naked and shit. This bullshit story. Bullshit story. But it's a much older story, actually. It goes back to India. I bet you didn't know that. Before the Jews ever fucking took it and appropriated it like they do. The theologians appropriate shit from all over the world. Like they appropriated the Epic of Gilgamesh. And they turned that into the story of Noah. But they took that from Babylon, okay? So this one they also took from India. And this was the story of Adama and Eva. You can look that up. You'll find it. That's actually where it fucking comes from before the Jewish theologians stole it for their little patchwork religion they created. But in the Bible, pick it up or pick up the Torah, he says, God says, oh shit, those fucking humans have eaten of the fucking tree of life. Actually, they've eaten of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. See, there were two trees, actually. One was the tree of life. The other one was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And he goes, oh shit, they've eaten of the knowledge of the good and evil. Now they know the difference between good and evil. And they will become gods as we are. As we are. because these were the gods talking amongst themselves. There wasn't just one. This idea of monotheistic idea came along way fucking later than the Jewish religion and way fucking later than the Christian religion. I guarantee you that. So this idea that there's only one God, well, actually, you know what? It does. It predates both of them. But what I mean is, it in those religions came out way later than the concept of there being a multiplicity of gods. So no, it does actually come, it predates them, and it's from a religion called Zoroastrianism, Zarathustrianism. And that's where we get the original light versus dark, good God versus bad God. Okay? You might want to look into that. It's a really neat thing. That's where you get the angels and the demons and all that. Before it was appropriated by the Jews and then later on by the Christians. So yeah, to get back to where I started, Jesus ain't God. He never was God. And he ain't never gonna be God as much as you pray to him. Okay? So stop being an idiot and look back into who your people referred to as Gaut, which was Got, became God. Same guy with the long white snowy beard. He was also known as the Old Man. There's so many words for this God. The All-Father, the Sky Father, so many words. I'll give you as many as I know in a later video. And that's the real God, the God of your people, if you're white, okay? If you're Caucasian. Because all of our peoples came from one original people. We were all one people originally. And we had a Vanic religion where we worshipped the Vanir, the fertility gods. And that was during the Ice Ages. When the ices started to melt and we started going out into the world and we conquered all over the world, we spread out and we colonized and we created all sorts of different peoples and we became different people. We became the Swedish and we became the Frisian. We became the Rus, the Russians. We became the Anglos. We became all these people. We became all of these different things. The Franks, the French, right? The Swedish, the Irish, all these different peoples. But they all were originally one people, and they all had the same God. And that is God, our original God. Not this Christian graft that they grafted onto us and grafted onto you. You ever wonder why shit ain't going your way? It's probably because you're worshiping the wrong fucking God. And you need to wake up to this shit. Because your ancient gods weren't a bunch of psychos demanding human sacrifices and shit like they show you in fucking Hollywood, which wants to keep you imprisoned in a fake religion where you're giving your prayers and your energy to a foreign god of a bunch of parasitic people. I know this is tough love and I know this is tough talk, and I bet you most of the hardcore Christians have already fucking left. You ain't listening to me. Fuck you, Uncle Sam, is what you probably said, and you turned me off. Fuck you, what do you know? Well, I know a fucking lot, and I know a lot more than you, which is why you probably fucking left. But the rest of you who are still here, you actually have an open mind. You actually understand truth when you hear it. Truth feels a certain way. It feels right. You know the guy ain't fucking, who's telling you the truth, ain't doing it for some ulterior motive. He's just giving you the truth. And it feels like a cleansing wind almost. Going through your chest. Liberating you. Freeing you from chains. Now, I don't know everything about this Jesus guy, whether or not he really existed. Neither do you. And neither do the people who wrote about him. If he did, good. If he didn't, fine. It don't matter. What matters is the legacy of Christianity. It was a good legacy by and large. It had a lot of problems too, and it still does. And the people who are clinging to it like idiots are the ones who are betraying their people, their culture, and they're the ones losing the West because they're just turning the other fucking cheek when they should be picking up the sword. They already betrayed their God, and they're worshiping an imposter who was put in his place from Judea, who has nothing to do with you. Same thing as the Moshiach. The Moshiach has nothing to do with you. The Messiah has nothing to do with you unless you're Jewish. And let the Jews have him. Good for them. As far as I'm concerned, the Messiah already came. His name was Rothschild, because he's the one who gave them all the things that they have nowadays in the modern state of Israel. That was the guy who fulfilled the prophecy. But they're too stupid. To this day, the fucking Jews don't even... When is Moshiach going to show up? I don't know. You got Israel, you dumb fucks. Maybe he already came. If you lifted your eyes up out of your fucking ass once in a while, you might find that out. But they ain't the only ones who are fucking blind. Most of you Christians are too, because you haven't read your own fucking book. And you haven't done any actual historical work or any historical reading. Now, I'm not doing this to put you down. Like I said, I'm doing this to free you. You could still be Christian. Just don't believe that Jesus was the only one Son of God. I mean, you can if you want, but you'd be fooling yourself. And at least look into your people's history and look into the past and look at the gods and what they were. They typify bravery and strength and fighting against the forces of evil. Jesus, well, he represented, sacrifice. He sacrifices himself. He's the lamb. He bleeds all over so you can be cured of your original sin. Well, you know what? I ain't got no fucking original sin because I ain't Jewish. Only they're the ones who have the original sin, according to their religion. That religion is a foreign religion. You shouldn't be listening to it, but it's up to you. You do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to free yourself, I need you to look into the Aesir, the Aesir, and their head god, which was the head god of your people, and still is. If you turn back to him, if you look and see who the old man really is. Like I said, that's one of his names, the old man. And from him, and from his archetype, and from his description, and from the way that we used to worship him, we get things like Santa Claus, Father Time, right? And all the modern depictions of God with the snowy white beard up in the clouds. That's Got. That's Gaut. That's the Allfather. Also known as Odin by the people in Norway, but he has many other names. Valtyr is one of them. God of the slain, right? Who he looks after. Many, 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 many. Forni is another one. That's the old man. I can give you many, and I will in another episode. But for now, I think I've shaken your world enough. Some of you already notice, and to you folks, hey, I salute you. You looked where other people wouldn't look, because you're brave. Because you've been called back by your actual God and gods. If the West is to be one, if the West is to be free, if the West is to be independent, then we have to go back to our gods. Stop turning away from them and stop worshiping foreign gods in their place. Matter of fact, our ancient gods don't even require that you fucking worship them. They require that you emulate them, that you be like them. That's all. That's all. That you be brave, that you be strong, that you be beautiful and handsome, that you multiply, that you fucking be lusty, that you be fearless, that you be independent, and you search for adventure, that you explore. That's what defined our ancestors. That's what needs to define us in the 21st century. And all of you who want to be timid and hide from that fact and hide from the truth and continue to worship gods that want you to just turn the other cheek and hide under a blanket, well, you folks have had your fucking day. Because the age of Aquarius is here now. And the age of Pisces, like the fish god, right? The symbol of Christianity, that was 2,000 years. The age of Pisces is over, and it was ushered in by Christianity. Well, it's over. Why do you think they're attacking it everywhere? So anybody who's going to be like, that's all I am, I'm just a Christian, that's it. Guess what? You're being thrown up on the cross, and you're going to be crucified. That's what they have planned for you. Now, I'll fucking try to stop it as much as I can, and so will other people in the West. But that religion is losing its power because it only had a 2,000-year shelf life. In any case, it's a foreign religion. Like I said, take the knowledge from it, learn from it. It was a good thing for a long time. Incorporate some of it, mercy, love, charity. But look at the other virtues, like hospitality, like bravery, and incorporate them, reincorporate them, and rediscover your heritage, because that is where you find victory, and that is where we're going to take back our countries and our fucking destiny.